So, my flute origin story. I realized I've never actually told the whole story and uploaded a video for it. Lots of people know it, but I've never actually uploaded it and presented it here on YouTube and other platforms. So I figured I'd do it. If you don't know, I've been a musician since I was about 12 years old. 11 or 12 was when I first started playing guitar. And my mom's boyfriend, Greg, started playing guitar, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And he slowly started teaching me, and I started learning, and mostly punk rock music and stuff. And I just kind of got the bug right away and started playing music and teaching myself, and never had any real formal lessons besides sitting down with him, and just kept playing and been in bands and toured all over the place and just kind of did most of it, really had a good time playing music and discovering myself and playing in all sorts of different genres, from punk rock to hard rock to heavy metal to folk, a little bit of country, a little bit of singer-songwriter stuff. Really been around the genres when it comes to making and creating music. Well, I got married in 2016 to my lovely wife, Dallas. And a couple of days after we got married, something showed up on the porch. And it was a Native American flute. My mother-in-law, Lloydine, had bought and sent me a Native American flute as a wedding gift. And it was a high spirits flute. This flute right here. This is my very first flute. I think they call it a sparrowhawk. It's a beginner flute, key of A, Spanish cedar. And when it first showed up, I honestly thought that it was a really silly and hokey instrument. I thought it was a silly little Indian whistle, and just kind of thought it was cute, But I knew that my mother-in-law really meant well, so I called her and I thanked her, and it was really sweet that she did it, And her words were, "Well, Tommy, you're a Native American guy, and you're a musician, so you should probably have a Native American instrument." So I had it. Here it is, and I'm walking away to put it away. I had this little this room in the house that we had at the time, and I had some pictures of my dad and a little bit of sagebrush and kind of my little Indian corner, And I'm literally walking to go put it away, and on my way, I just played it. Maybe not that good, but I played it and it sounded good, and I knew my way around it enough. And my wife goes, "Oh my gosh, bring that back out here. I've never heard anything like that. Where'd you learn how to play it?" I'm like, I don't know how to play it. First time I ever played. And she just really liked it. She's like, "Bring it back out here. Play it again." So I played it again for her. And she just is like, "I just really like that. I just really like the sound of that thing. You should play that more." So I didn't go put it away in my little Indian corner. I brought it back out and I put it on top of the TV. We had a TV stand. And I put it on top there. And there it sat. And I started to pick it up every 15 or 20 minutes, and I would just go outside and play it. And my wife used to call it my cigarette, even though I don't smoke cigarettes, and I didn't smoke cigarettes then. She called it my cigarette because I would pick it up and I would go out and play it every 15 or 20 minutes, and I'd just go out there and play for a little bit and come back in, and I started watching videos, started getting into it a little bit, started listening to other players, and just kind of like, oh, there's this whole world out there that I knew nothing about. I had been listening to some new agey kind of music for a while, but it was mostly like acoustic guitar, instrumental stuff, like Michael Hedges, and I'm a really big fan of the bass player Michael Manring, and a lot of stuff from the Windham Hill record label, William Ackerman, and just a lot of that kind of easy listening kind of music. Not really new agey, but easy listening kind of stuff. But I discovered this huge world of Native American flute music that I did not know existed, and started listening to all sorts of stuff. And I remember the solo Native American flute that really captured me was Brian Akipa. And I started listening to him and was just like, oh my gosh. Just listening to the way that he does all the little pops and how fast his fingers were. And it just really captivated me. So I started playing flute a lot, and it really brought me out of a big funk I was in, because I sold everything I had. I sold my electric guitars, my amplifiers, everything I had. I quit playing music altogether. I wasn't in a band anymore. I hadn't really played anything for 4 or 5 years, maybe. I was just sick of keeping a band together and burnt out on the music scene and everything that comes with it. It just burnt me out, and I wasn't having fun playing music anymore. I was forcing myself to play music, and I wasn't having fun. It was, I don't know. It was just a bad time. So I stopped, and I focused on my career at the time, which was doing social work in downtown Portland, helping homeless folks. And I started playing the flute, and all of a sudden I felt that joy again that I felt all those years ago playing music, just playing to play. And I was enjoying it. I'd bring it fishing with me, I'd take it hiking, and I was just enjoying myself. And that was a really big deal for me, to just enjoy playing music again. It was wonderful. It was truly life-changing. I felt like it brought me back. So I got excited, and I bought another one. And I bought this flute. And High Spirits Flutes. This is in the key of E. It's a walnut flute, and I thought this was the only flute company in the world. I had no idea that there was all these other makers out there, but I bought another one. And I thought this was like, oh my gosh. This was right when they started making their 1-inch bore bass flute. They used to make this same flute, but it was bigger around, I think, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And I ordered this. I bought it, $225 or something it was. And it showed up, and I started playing. Well, within a couple of months, I started hearing music in my head again. I started hearing guitar music. And out of all the instruments and everything that I had sold, I still had my acoustic guitar sitting in the corner collecting dust. Sitting there. I hadn't played it in a long time. But all of a sudden I started hearing music again. And I went and picked up my guitar. And it was so dusty. So I went and bought some guitar strings, put some new strings on it. I started to try and recreate what I was hearing. And slowly, after a little bit of time, I actually got together with my friend, Bobby, who was playing bass, and worked kind of just, got with him with my flutes and stuff, and was like, hey man, check this out. And over time, I started working this thing out, and this little riff on the flute. That ended up being a song, my very first song I ever released with the flute, called Thunder Rolling Down the Mountain. And if you don't know, that's a song about Chief Joseph. Chief Joseph, literally, if it wasn't for Chief Joseph of the Nimi-Poo, better known as Nez Perce tribe, I wouldn't be alive. He My third great grandma was just a little girl when they were captured by the U.S. government all those years ago in Montana. And if it wasn't for Chief Joseph guiding the whole path and everything, I wouldn't be here, you know? And so I started putting this song together and ended up recording it with my friend Patrick. He had a label at the time called Backline Records, and now he still uses the name Backline, but he does all sorts of other amazing stuff. He's a sound guy and lighting and video, and Patrick Brewer. And so I made a song. I'm like, oh my God, this is really cool. My wife really liked it. She knew it, and she could tell that I really liked it. So for Christmas, she bought me a flute. This is the third flute I ever got, and I still have all three of them. This is High Spirits in the key of G, Aromatic Cedar, some turquoise in there. And this flute's so special to me because my wife bought it for me, and it's more than just that, though. You know, my wife has been supporting me for a really long time, coming to all my shows, the rock shows and all that stuff. And she supported me, but wasn't really the biggest fan of my music. You know what I mean? She just kind of loved it that I loved it and supported me, was there for me. But never even bought me a pair of guitar strings. You know what I mean? She never did anything like that. But she saw this bring me joy, and she bought me a flute. And it was just a really big deal to me. Knowing that my wife believed in me and loved the music that I was playing was just a really big deal for me. So it kind of, hey, I'm on the right path, you know? So with this flute, I started putting together another song, and I put out my second song called Spirits and Blood. And these both have music videos on YouTube. And I started getting phone calls and emails and all this stuff from people that I don't know, and they're kind of like, who are you and where did you come from? And so I just kept pursuing it, you know. I kept making music and writing music and recording it, and didn't really take it too seriously, but it was just like, I'm having fun again. I'm doing this, you know, and that was just that was a really big deal for me, just to be doing it again, having fun. I'm playing music on my own terms, and I really am enjoying it. So over a little bit of time, I slowly started booking some shows and printing some CDs and uploading things to Spotify and all that. And then right before COVID, I booked all of these gigs, and I was still working full time as a social worker, but I also had all of these gigs booked. And I realized that I had enough gigs booked to pay the bills. And I had a really hard day at work, and I came home and was just really upset about it, about work and everything. And I just told my wife, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I could do this anymore. And she looked right at me and she goes, you need to quit that job because you already have a job. I was really confused. Like, what are you talking about? She looked at me and she goes, you're the best musician that I've ever met. Go out there and do it. And I just started bawling. But I did. That's what I did. I left my job, and I've been pursuing music full-time ever since. And I really owe that to these flutes. You know, the silly little Indian whistle that showed up at my porch. Because my mother-in-law sent me this really wonderful gift that I didn't know that I really cared about, but it literally changed my life. And because of that little silly gift, I've been a full-time musician now for almost 5 years. And I've met the most amazing people and traveled all across the United States. Well, not all across, but I've been traveling, you know. Been on a plane for the first time, believe it or not, within the last couple of years. Been in a handful of amazing flute workshops and been able to collaborate with some of my heroes, and just the people. I've just met the most incredible people, and it's just dramatically changed my life. So that's me, guys. That's where I come from. That's my whole thing. That's how I started playing the flute. And I do feel like I had a little head start because I was a musician for so long, you know. This is a very simple instrument to play, but the things it can do once you really get into it is just wonderful. And so now I'm trying to take it to places it's never been. I'm really exploring the music theory with it and trying to share that and really see where these flutes can go. I've played on metal albums, I've played on progressive rock albums, I've played on folk albums, I've played on all sorts of stuff. And my music itself, there's solo flute, there's some cinematic stuff, there's some rock music, there's folky music. My music's all over the board with this Native American flute. So I just wanted to share that, and I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting me this far. It's been a wild ride, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So thank you. I love you so much. Love your neighbor, and have a great day. See you next time, guys.